Hello, everyone. Welcome to the PennGSC Project-Based Learning Certificate Programs Information Session. I'm Zachary Herrmann. I am one of the researchers on the Project-Based Learning Certificate Programs here at PennGSC. I also teach within the programs and direct them, and I also lead the Center for Professional Learning within which these two programs are housed. And it's a real pleasure and honor to talk about these programs as they are very exciting initiatives that we have. One new, brand new, it is yet to be launched, another about to enter its fifth cohort. During the information session, feel free to put some questions in the chat or use the Q&A function, and we'll try to address any questions at the end. I'm going to share my screen, and we are recording in case you want to review this afterwards. We'll be sure to share it. So I'm going to share my screen to talk a little bit about these programs. I want to start by saying that both of these programs, our Project-Based Learning Certificate Program, as well as our Project-Based Learning for Global Climate Justice, stem out of some of the work that we do around research into the core practices for project-based learning. And in this work, we've developed a framework to think about the driving goals of project-based learning there in the circles in the center, learning that is rich in disciplinary learning, learning that is authentic to students, communities, the subject area, work that is collaborative where students work with others to take on complex and meaningful work, and work that is iterative where students are supported to actually produce things, receive feedback, reflect on that feedback, and revise. And then all of the teaching practices that support teachers to help students pursue these goals. Things like eliciting high order thinking, or supporting students to reflect and advise, or supporting students to make a contribution to the world. And so this is kind of both the research and the theoretical base that is at the heart of both of our programs. So I'll start by talking about the Project-Based Learning Certificate Program. We are currently admitting our fifth cohort for this program. It starts with a virtual institute in August, where our participants will learn about the framework and the driving goals and the core teaching practices of project-based learning. During this institute, they'll also have a chance to meet what we call their home teams and their instructional coach. Each individual is paired with a coach and placed within a team that will be consistent throughout their entire experience with the program. We also have a teacher track and a leadership track. So teachers will start focusing on their own teaching practice and set some goals. And leaders will focus on their leadership practice and think about how they're going to take what they're learning and implement within their schools or systems. During the academic year, we have what we call academic year learning cycles. And these are monthly webinars where teachers and leaders reconvene with their home team, have a chance to set goals with respect to different aspects of our framework for project-based learning, and then also plan to implement various things within their classroom or within their schools. They'll collect artifacts from their practice to bring back and analyze collaboratively with the support of the coach and with the peers. Finally, the entire cohort will reconvene for our second virtual institute, where we'll take stock of what we've learned, the challenges that we've encountered, as well as some of the successes that we've experienced, and chart a course for what's next, what is next on our learning journey. This is one of our more intensive and advanced professional learning programs. We have educators that are relatively new to the profession, but several educators with quite a bit of experience. So it's a really robust cohort full of vast experiences from various different contexts, which provides a really rich learning experience. I'm going to share just a few quotes from previous participants in this program. PennPBL is inspiring, useful, reflective, and thought-provoking. It makes reflective educators who are intentional about decisions they make. It was an amazing opportunity to collaborate with others who are like-minded about changing the world of education. And it creates community and is aggressively helpful in transforming teachers to become coaches who inspire deeper learning. So those are a few quotes and perspectives from a few of our previous participants. The next program I want to talk about is a brand new program. We're launching it for the first time this year, and that's the PBL for Global Climate Justice. This program is going to start with this explore phase where our participants are going to have access to our online learning management system, where they'll be able to review various reports and resources, as well as interviews with subject matter experts on the issues of global climate change. So we interview Penn scholars that are studying issues of global climate change, as well as various teacher educators to think about what makes authentic learning experiences. Then we have an envision phase where our educators will convene for a design sprint. Well, they'll kind of take the fodder from the explore phase, both the primary sources of the global climate justice issues, and work through a process to design an authentic project-based learning project. While we don't expect anyone to leave the design phase, the project-based learning design sprint, with a full project, everyone will leave with a sketch of a project that they hope to implement. And they'll have the remainder of the summer to kind of finish completing it and fleshing it out. Then there's the enact phase. And this is where teachers will actually enact their project in their classrooms. And we're going to create various spaces for teachers to reconnect with each other, to reflect on what's going well, and even potentially for teachers to collaborate across different contexts as they implement their project, and maybe even opportunities for students to collaborate and share some of their work. To summarize a few other differences between these two programs, again, the project-based learning certificate program is a 10-month intensive certificate program. We start and end with virtual institutes. We have small team instructional coaching and analysis throughout the academic year. Teachers and leaders develop a portfolio of their teaching and/or leadership practice, and it focuses on setting goals to develop their practice, as well as analyzing their practice. The project-based learning for global climate justice is a 6-month program and focuses on project development and implementation, specifically on the content of global climate change issues. There'll be some structured opportunities for educators to connect with each other as they implement, troubleshoot, share resources, and so on. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I am going to put some resources into the chat, so you'll have access to all of these links. And again, if there are any questions, feel free to put them into the chat or use the question and answer feature, and we'll try to get to as many as we can. So one question is, how do we determine which program is a good fit? So this is a great question. 2 separate programs. The project-based learning certificate program, the 10-month kind of extensive experience, really focuses on developing your own teaching or leadership practice. So we use the framework, we use kind of our research to inform setting goals, analyzing your practice, gathering artifacts from your practice, reflecting on your practice in close community with a small home team and an instructional coach that has been trained in developing professional learning experiences that are really job embedded. The project-based learning for global climate change is really about project design and implementation. So it focuses a little bit less on the instructional practice and more about what are the core aspects that go into a high quality project. And then how do we, design a project, in community with others? And then what are some of the challenges with implementing it? As the name suggests, it really focuses on issues of global climate justice. And that's where we draw from some some members of the Penn community who are working on these issues. So I'm seeing another question about when these programs start. The project-based learning certificate program starts with a virtual institute in August. goes throughout the academic year and then ends in May. So it really follows the academic calendar. The project-based learning for global climate justice actually starts in June because it starts with learning about some issues of global climate justice, exploring some resources, and then a design sprint that also takes place in June to start developing a project. Because we anticipate that you might benefit from a little bit more time before the academic year to finalize the development of your project. And then the implementation, we expect you to implement it during the fall semester, or depending on where you are in the world, during sometime between August and December. And then it wraps up at the end of the calendar year. So the timelines are slightly different for each program. See, one more question about who's a good fit for these programs. The project-based learning certificate program, the 10-month experience, is a little bit more open. We have K through 12 educators in pretty much any content area. So we have elementary, middle, and high school teachers across various subject matters. And we also have a leadership track. So instructional coaches, department chairs, principals, directors of curriculum and instruction, directors of professional development would fall in the leadership track. So that's a little bit more broad. For the project-based learning for global climate justice, it's more focused on teachers who are going to implement a project. And the focus is a little bit more on secondary teachers. So high school teachers is the target audience there. So I'll give another moment or so to see if there are any other questions about either of these programs. And again, the links are in the chat. So feel free to click on any of those links to read more. I do see one additional question. Yes, the topic of global climate change and global climate justice is quite broad. We're drawing on, so the question is kind of where within that area. We're drawing on several different kind of reports and recent findings, including from organizations like the United Nations, but we're also focusing a little bit more on issues of water. We have a lot of individuals here at the University of Pennsylvania that are focused on issues of water and how that is affecting various communities and different considerations. But we also recognize that depending on your context, depending on your subject matter, depending on your own interests, you might have an interest in a different area. And that is perfectly fine if you want to focus on a different issue within the kind of the scope of global climate justice. It's simply the individuals and the subject matter experts that we're bringing to the program kind of have a theme around water. All right, I think those are all of the questions that I see. Thank you all for participating and joining us. I will add our email address in case there are any further questions. It's professional. Oops, I mistyped our email address. Professional learning@gsc.upenn.edu. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Feel free to review our websites. We're very excited about both of these programs, and we hope that you consider joining us. So thank you, everybody, and enjoy your afternoon, evening, morning, depending on where you are in the world. Thank you.